AskReddit. Students of Reddit, what is your best school life hack? Quizlet is pretty great. Great for finding the entire tests for some reason. I remember failing to prepare for an exam I had about an hour and a half before I had to go take it and googled a question that led to Quizlet and had the 60 or so questions from my study guide. I read through it a handful of times. Took the test, it was nearly identical. Finished the test in about 20 minutes and got like a 96. Go Quizlet. If you have lazy teachers, Google a direct quote from a worksheet or assignment and you can sometimes find teaching resources and answers online. At my school the teachers have their own website and can make different folders for resources. The teachers have the option of putting a link on their site so students can access it. So teacher can see all links and students can only see ones the teachers put on the public site. I looked up one of the assignments for my app environmental class and found link to my teacher's answer folder for all homework. I really lucked out there because I had no clue what I was doing in that class. If I learned anything from my high school days, don't tell anyone, because if you do it will spread and then no one will be able to use it. You don't know fear as an undergrad until you look at your future and realize you seriously might have to take a summer class just to graduate. Anthropology 101. My last humanities credit senior year. I went to lecture but never took notes and missed the labs due to a weird switching schedule. Tuesday one week, Thursday the next. My grade is in the tank, but I have already finished all the classes for my major and just need to fulfill university requirements. So there I am, in the library, and it's like 11:30 on the night before the final. They close at midnight. The final is first thing in the morning. If I get a D on this test, I graduate. Most of the test concerns the notes I never took, and the labs I missed. I'm the picture of desperation, so I start googling like a madman. I end up doing exactly what /u/Fudges recommends. I type in an exact clause from some sentence on the study material, just as a last ditch effort, to start living my life, and what do you know, my prof's name, and the class, and somebody else's meticulous notes, and lab notes, pop up. This is an unethical and specific one, but it worked wonders. One of the vending machines at school accepted UGR cards as dollar bills. Edit 2. For those wondering, I found out from a friend. My classmate took up a strict 9 to 5 school schedule right from the first semester. Every day, he'd work 9 to 5. He was either in class, working on homework, or studying if he got everything done. At 5 PM, he'd pack up his stuff and was done for the day. He had all his homework done way ahead of schedule and never had to pull all-nighters or waste weekends on homework. He was never stressed out or anything like that because he'd spent time studying when he wasn't slammed with homework. I could never manage it because I'd rather procrastinate and start 3 hours before it was due, but it seemed like the best way to do it. Edit. To answer the flood of questions. This was in computer programming. We did get projects estimated at like 60 hours a week later in the course, but by then he was so far ahead of everyone else that he could start working on them as soon as they were assigned and knew the content so well that he still didn't have to work outside his core hours while I was pulling multiple all-nighters in the lab trying to catch up. Yes, you might need more time based on your program. The point is to get into a routine and use your time effectively. He didn't have a job because school is affordable where I live, and we were in a co-op program where you work every other semester and can save up some money, but he did take contract work to do in the evenings/weekends for some cash and would have had every night and weekends to work if he wanted to do so. If you need to participate in group discussion but unsure about the material, ask intelligent questions instead of trying to answer what you don't get. It'll buy you time and you'll still be participating. See the professor/tar during their office hours if you need extra help understanding something. No one comes to office hours and they're usually really happy to help. For all my fellow commuters out there, meal prep. You will save so much money by making some rice and chicken at home instead of buying some food every day. I used to buy Subway twice a week as I was at school for a long time of those days. I just started to do meal prep, and I feel so much better about not spending that much money anymore. Browse the textbook before the lecture, or at least skim the introduction and the section headings. It's a lot easier to remember information if you walk into the classroom with a little bit of context. If you don't know how to study, or have a hard time getting yourself to do homework, get a friend to buddy with. My ADHD RSS can't study to save my life, but if my friend is in the room concentrating on that sheet, I feel like I don't want to be left out, and I'll buckle down. So we are on the same page. If you can't manufacture executive function, peer pressure is fine too. Before exam, make a copy of all the material you have to know, but change it in the way you would explain it. It helps a lot to learn the subject. I found that explaining the concept out loud, even if it's to nobody, really helped me, or made me realize what I still didn't know. Get enough sleep. Seriously. I know it's hard. I know there's not enough hours in the day. But if you're gonna cut anything, it shouldn't be sleep. Sleep more than you study. Study more than you party. And party as much as you can. And exercise. Being fit and rested will improve your mental performance. I had a teacher in middle school who told us cramming all night doesn't do anything before a test. Getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep helps more. You won't remember anything you've crammed if you're exhausted. I scoffed at this cause I was 13. Got into college and realized he was right. Mr. Snider, you the og. Edit to include. I never said studying wasn't a bad thing. I never did well staying up all night cramming the night before a test. I always did better studying a couple hours a day in the weeks leading up to a test or final. For me personally, cramming all night before a test and not sleeping doesn't work for me. Obviously it works for some people. Ease off. Don't spend your school time on Reddit, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm definition not doing that right now. Same. You've got to play the meta game. If you're lazy and unorganized like me, you won't have time to properly study for everything and complete every assignment. That's when you look at the grade distribution and start with the items that are worth the most. This is so important. Keep track of your points. The only way you know if you can skip a homework assignment or bomb a quiz if you've been carefully watching your grades so far. Laminate your notes so the tears just roll off. Not ok. On a serious note, this is kind of shitty, but once I left my charger at the library and it wasn't at the lost and found, so I came back a few hours later when a different person was working and asked if they have found a white Apple phone charger, which I saw that they had earlier, and they just gave me this charger. Lost a charger and got a new one for free. Edit. Another tip, try not to buy books from the bookstore. You buy more expensive books, and then when you sell them back the store will only give you 30%. If it's actually value for it, then they will resell the same book for 100% of the price next semester. I've been able to find all of my textbooks as a PDF file online. Do your homework at lunch. I do it in high school and now I have so much time to masturbate and not have a social life. I would done this, but in my high school we were only given 20 minutes for lunch. High school is where I learned to eat so fast that I never taste my food. There was barely any time to eat after waiting in line. In high school currently, can confirm I only taste the cookies because I take time to eat them with milk. To add to this, don't underestimate the small chunks of time littered throughout the day. Got an hour before your bus/lecture/whatnot? Do some study. You missed the bus that was scheduled literally 1 minute after your lecture? That's 20 minutes of study. If you don't sit at the bus stop staring at your phone, stay in the library for that time. It especially helps if you're like me and have an attention span of a kid with ADHD, not literally, and can't do more than an hour of work at a time. If you use these times it'll add up to a couple hours a day, which is massive in the long run. If you want to use Wikipedia when writing an academic essay, just cite the sources that Wikipedia cites. Not only does it reduce your workload a lot, but it makes it look like you've done a ton of reading during your research, which your professor will be really impressed by.